increasing number of teenagers and adolescents participating in these criminal activities. I mean, these are the driving needs, but we also see them as the opportunities as we move forward to say, okay, how can the church get involved? How can men's fellowship play a role in how the church is getting involved? Well, we have been addressing these needs in a few ways. I'm just going to share maybe 4 of them with you. Right now, we provide entrepreneurial training and technical assistance to these young men, okay? And what we want to do is provide them with the viable business skills and even business plans to get them engaged productively in the community. We look to do biblically based counseling and mentoring programs, that one-on-one stuff that can't be replaced by book learning, you know.
Right.
And encouraging and facilitating dialogue between the various factions that are feuding within our community. That's something we've seen some great success with, but we have some even bigger plans for that.
That would bring about a tremendous amount of peace. That would
Yeah,
be good.
because I know the community is nervous about that.
Yep.
And so what we're trying to do with that is facilitate the interaction between the various civic groups, governments, and churches.
Absolutely.
So that we're working toward a common end. Yeah?
Sure.
Specifically, Bob, this year, what we want to do is we want to take the Jamaica Business Development Center up on their offer to conduct some business development training that we have put together for a curriculum. And so we're excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And they've offered to do that.
They've offered to do that. And so this is a great example of church, government, and civic organizations
Working together. Absolutely. How cool is that?
2 members of our professionally trained counseling staff have agreed to volunteer their time, almost full time,
wow.
and not require any salary for that. So that's something that we can really move forward
So
with.
people with adequate training, they know what they're doing, they're professionals,
Yeah.
and yet it's not costing you any money.
Yeah, and that's really helpful. What a gift.
Yes.
Adolescent and teenage members of the church trained in counseling to be peer counselors. So it's not just a mentoring relationship, but they're seeing the example of their peers happening. We've worked in many other areas, but these are the areas that we really want to take advantage of in this upcoming year. Okay?
That's great.
And we want to also hold monthly meetings. Right now they're quarterly, but we think that monthly meetings would be helpful as we keep a dialogue going with some of these various factions in our society.
Yeah.
Additionally, we're planning on holding some bi-monthly forums between the private and public sector, just to raise some awareness of how people can benefit from what the Men's Fellowship can provide.
When do you find time to do your job? I mean, this is a full-time job, isn't it?
Well, in fact, this is my job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense, because I'm thinking, how in the world does a Men's Fellowship accomplish all these things?
My full-time job is to sort of spearhead what's happening within this Men's Fellowship. In fact, we have several people that, because professionally trained staff, which is required for a good chunk of what we do, all this costs some money, as you know, and every worthy thing has some dollars attached to it. And that's sort of God's design for how things move forward. And so part of what I want to talk to you about is one other thing that we're going to be doing in the future that I think is probably going to light your fire because you're really into evangelism. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about how maybe you can participate both personally and financially in this. But the exciting thing that we're launching this year is quarterly evangelistic meetings in our community. And we believe that with the credibility that we've gained over time, that really our community is ripe for evangelistic outreach. And I know you have a heart for evangelism. And
both my wife and I mean, that would be, if you're asking us if we could be a part of that's right up our alley. I mean, we would love to be a part of some evangelistic meetings that you do in the community
Well, I could
to
see you
reach people
speaking
for
at them.
Jesus. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Perhaps your wife as well, but certainly she's so good with sort of shepherding some of the women that come into her life. Well, I'll tell you what, this is really what it's going to cost to make this happen, okay? And yeah, it's a over 2,200,000 Jamaican dollars to make that happen next year. And you know, I can break that down a little bit for you. Some of it will go to, in fact, $100,000 of that will go to the consultation fees and the preparation of the materials that will be necessary to make these forums and evangelistic meetings happen. Okay.
Yep.
80,000 of that is a stipend for some of the counselors. Although they're volunteering their time, they're putting such a significant energy behind it. We really want to make sure that we can provide them some sort of stipend that says, hey, thanks for doing this.
Sure.
Of course, every good Christian organization and gathering needs food and refreshments, right?
Absolutely. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together, there will be food.
Absolutely. So, 48,000 of that reflects that. 45,000 will be required just for the administrative processes for the evangelistic meetings.
Sure.
But 2 million of that goes to the salaries, and as you know how many we have on staff, and that is really the bulk of most ministry budgets is staffing.
Sure.
Ours is no different, but we're excited about the plan that we have been engaging the staff in, and we think that we can really ramp that up this year. So my question for you really is, would you be willing to help financially in addition to your personal involvement? And I don't know if you can write us a $2 million check today even.
Brett, I can't even write a tenth of that. But I tell you what, I'm excited about this, what you're working with, and I'd certainly like to talk to my wife about it.
Okay, well,
and see if there's some way we can do that.
Obviously, I'm kidding about writing a $2 million check. I mean, that would be really nice, but so far I've had no takers. Most people have been willing to contribute at a level of, say, $1,000, maybe $5,000 monthly. And we find that this is a range that people are comfortable engaging in. And as you pray about this with your wife, which I really want to encourage you just to sit down and talk through the opportunity, know that consistent monthly giving is really a staple to how our ministry is going to move forward.
Sure.
So, because we are able to plan consistently on some funds and know then what we can provide next month and next quarter. So
absolutely.
So if you could consider sort of that monthly process of giving, we would be ever so grateful for that.
Okay.
As you pray with your wife, I'm going to give you a card. Here's what it's going to say. Basically, it's going to provide you some various levels of giving to consider. And, if there's a monthly amount that's not there, feel free to write that in.
Okay.
These are just ideas to consider. But specifically, if that area is evangelism, like I'm suspecting it is, that'd be great. If you could write in evangelism or whatever area that you and your wife are interested in.
Is it possible for us to specify that we'd like it to just help make your paycheck?
That's certainly
go
possible.
Directly toward supporting you.
We can certainly make that happen. And when you specify, what that allows me to do is make sure that the monies that you're graciously donating are going toward what you desire it to go toward. But it also allows me to report back to you specifically on those specific areas of interest, and we want to be accountable, and we want to share in the excitement of what God's doing, because we recognize this isn't just sort of a financial transaction.
No.
When you give of your money,
Yep.
you're investing your heart as well. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear on what next steps are, and so I wondered if there's a time that's convenient just to follow up with you. Can you think maybe a week or a week and a half down the road?
Yeah, I'm sure. Let's get together beginning of next week. Could you call me? sometime, and we'll just set something up
Sure.
for the beginning next week?
Sure, I'll call you at the end of perhaps this week.